is so important, because this is the time when people need to take action. They need to stop being controlled by the fear, by the doubt that's going on around them, the hysteria. So much is being purported by the media that's actually not even true. For instance, people think they can't get loans, Steve, and that's not true. You can go get a loan. You just have to be able to verify your income. Yeah, I'm going to look a little harder at you today, but you can acquire a loan. So, the part that people don't get with that piece is you got to stop believing everything you're seeing in the media, and and start taking action. I work with people all the time who are actually fairly affluent, but yet they get caught up in the hysteria that the market is creating, the media is creating, and people don't know which way to turn. So, you know what, it's time to slow down. It's time to remember that, this bailout, it's happening, but we don't really have a good plan as to what it's going to do and how it's going to be applied. And this is a big unknown. Here we are this far into this situation, and the government really doesn't have a handle on what they're doing with all this money. And again, like I said, I think we're probably up to close to 1.5 to 1.7 trillion dollars, and that's a tough part right there. That's a tough nut to chew in that piece of it. So, with that much money being rolled around, we've got to have an idea of what we're doing with the money, and it doesn't seem like we do, and we need to figure that out. You're listening to David Harper at Money Matters Network. You can call in live and talk with me at 303-747-5121. Punch in show code, or punch in 2, and then show code of 226-305. That's 226-305. And you can chat with me live, and I'd love to hear what's going on in your economic world and see if we can coach or teach you some different things that you can do. And we'll go from there. Any messages that happen to pop up on the chat board, for whatever reason, I'm not connecting to the chat server. I can put my can in there, but I cannot see anything on the chat server. So
yeah, that's okay,
sure
David.
That's about, but,
do you feel that GM should be allowed to file bankruptcy? And then after you answer that, we do have a caller.
Okay. Should GM be allowed to file bankruptcy?
And what's the impact of that?
That's a head scratcher. Yeah, actually, I think that if it has been mismanagement, the thing is, when I say mismanagement, the problem is people right now are having a heck of a time buying cars. So how much of this is caused by the economic conditions of America? And do we, because we're the ones that are going to pay for it, the Fed's going to print more money, that's going to cause more inflation. Yeah, you know what, Steve, I think they should be allowed to file bankruptcy. I think they should be allowed to go out of business, and I think somebody who's stronger and smarter will pick up the pieces and start producing Chevrolets. But yeah, I don't think we actually protect them. Obviously, there's going to be certain things that they cannot get out of when it comes to filing bankruptcy. But again, I think they should be, with certain caveats as it relates to pension plans and things like that. I don't think they should be allowed to just terminate all the pension plans. But here's the problem. Have they stolen from all the pension plans? That's the point, and I'm guessing that they have. I'm guessing that the pension plans have been raided. That's another, lie to the American consumer, worldwide consumer, that pensions are safe, they're protected by ERISA, but yet here, time and time again, we see them raided by the corporations. So that's a really tough question, Steve. I would probably want to see more legal input as to what they could really walk away from if they declared bankruptcy. I would not support them walking away from the pensions, the promise that was made to the American worker, the guy that gave his blood and sweat and back, for 35, 40 years. That person should not be disenfranchised by a company like them being able to, go bankrupt. So there's a lot of other issues that I guess could change my answer. If you kind of see, I'm going in circles here, but I think there's problems that need to be addressed as it comes to the workers and people that are affected by the company going bankrupt.
To be fair, yeah, this is a loaded question, David, and I understand. I understand. I would like to know what Obama would say.
I think Obama would bail them out.
Wow.
Yeah, I do. I mean, look at all the checks that are being written. This is coming out of Congress. This is coming out of the presidential office of George Bush. You know what? I am not for our government bailing out people who make bad business decisions. Because first off, I don't think it would ever get to my level. I don't think anybody's going to bail me out if I made bad business decisions. And I made bad business decisions. I've done things that have cost me money, Arthur. And, nobody comes and writes me a check that Arthur stole from me. And so, where's my bailout? And you know what, Steve, I don't expect one. I expect to pull up the proverbial bootstraps and to keep on working and to keep doing what I know how to do to create a better world around me and to create value in the world around me. So, that's where I just really don't believe that our government, and it is both sides of the fence. We can point the fingers at Obama today, but guess what? We can point the fingers at Bush here, who's been helping write these checks onward and upward as well. So I'm not happy with any of that. I'm not happy with printing money. I'm not, none of that is going to serve our long-term economic recovery. It isn't going to happen. You said we have a caller on the line?
Yes,
go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, this is Steve from Albany, New York, David. I was going to ask you a question. Before I ask you that question, there's another thing that occurs to me with bailing out the auto companies or letting them go bankrupt. If they go bankrupt, tell me what we're going to do with all of our warranties, the millions of warranties that are out there that are active and supported by the auto companies. If they go bankrupt, we're going to have thousands upon thousands of vehicles that are not repairable and you can't afford to repair them. So they got to think about that too.
Yeah, and the parts that go along with that. Here's my belief, Steve, is that even if a company went bankrupt, let's use GM, just for sake of argument, if GM went bankrupt, there would be somebody who would come in there and get them, pick them up for cents on the dollar, take it over, and start working it. Now, would they honor warranties? Ooh, excuse me, I have no idea. I mean, if I'm a businessman, I'm going to try to mitigate those liabilities as much as possible, and that's the difficult part. But again, if I'm trying to build a loyal customer base, then I'm going to honor those warranties. And so that's the real difficult part. And to be honest with you, I really don't believe that in the environment that we're in today, here's what I don't believe. I don't believe that they're going to let GM go under. I don't believe it. And I don't necessarily agree with it, but they're going to be bailed out. We keep writing checks for AIG, GM, now before, then, what next? To me, this is a very interesting time in history to be alive. I've said that more in the last month than I can take a stick at, but it is. This is a very defining moment in our world today, in our global economic world, and what is this doing, to the global economy, the cancer that we put out there and spread across the world with the subprime crisis. There's definitely some